Hello everyone. Okay, let's get going. We have a lot to see today. Um, Let me just make sure that you have a pretty good view of what is happening here. We good? Okay. So, are you there? Can you see me? I just want to do a quick audio check to make sure that all of you are right there. Gonna share a few things with you today as we get going. All right. So, how you doing? What is up there? Just a quick audio check. Let me know if you can hear me, if everything is clear. Yeah. Fantastic. Oh, good. Yeah. Very good. Welcome, everyone. I feel like you don't see me. Audio is fine. Can you see me there? I can't see you, but somehow you must be able to see me. If you can't see me, I just have to change a little bit my setup, but that's all right. Okay, very good. So I was asking you how many of you have used TypeScript lately or React, and I can see that there is a mixed of I use React but not TypeScript, or I use TypeScript but not React. So the idea now is basically to bring all those knowledge together and show you how one makes the other even better. I'm a huge fan of React. I love Angular. I've never done Vue.js, but I love Vue.js. But I love TypeScript more than anything out there in terms of technology, because it made my life in JavaScript so much better since 2013. But I mean, you decide for yourself now. Now, let me put it this way for you. As I said, I love TypeScript, and at Hackages, the company I work for, we love TypeScript. You see our website here. We have product we work on that uses TypeScript behind the scene. So I'm gonna show you a few things about TypeScript that going to make your life easier in a React application, right? So just make sure that I have like. So if you have any questions, by the way, just put it in the chat and I will jump in the chat to reply, or I can just reply live. And at the end of the session, we're gonna have a quick Q&A if there are still more questions, but feel free to drop your question directly there. We have about our YouTube channel. Every week we're posting new content, and we're planning some amazing stuff in the coming weeks. So feel free to subscribe to support the work we're doing so far. And last but not least, I hope everything, your family, you're safe, and this period isn't too hard on you. So remember, we started these webinar things during this period, and we got a lot of support. We were able to support a lot of people out there in their learning, in their confinement. So yeah, we're happy to just have your support back. For those who are finding this thing valuable, please subscribe and let's get going. So as I said, I work at Hackages. Hackages, as you can see, it's where technology meets education. We really focus on education. We do a lot of trainings, React, Angular, everything JavaScript. Think JavaScript and think Hackages, right? If you have JavaScript in mind, look at Hackages. However, we also do things like Java development, React Native, .NET. Yeah, I have my colleagues looking at me like, don't we do .NET? Yes, we do those kind of things as well. So Hackages, we hack, we solve problem, but we go from first principle, and the first principle for us is education. We educate ourselves and we share knowledge, and we learn from you as well. So you can find trainings on our website and things like that. Next week, for example, we're running an entire online React training. It's full, so sorry, I'm not selling any spot on this session. But we have in July we have other sessions, so you can just go on our website and you will find session available there. So let's talk about TypeScript in a React application. So when React started, so if I go on React.js website, when React started, there were no idea of like TypeScript. We were doing everything in JavaScript, and me coming from if you go back many years, coming with the background in C#, Haskell, really typed language, and then I start doing Angular, and then I realized that, well, I need I think you don't see me. I don't see the video. Oh, let me make sure that I turn on my video, because if it's not up there, okay, let me make sure that the video is up and running as well. Video capture. Yeah, okay, I see why you don't see my video. Let me just add quickly the video. Yeah, sorry, I have to do it live because I'm on one computer, and yeah, that's one. It's right here. I'm supposed to be here, but it seems like I'm behind everything else. So there you go. I'm here. See me? Hello. I was right here hidden behind the scene. So you see me there? Fantastic. Yeah, I'm using OBS. If you want to know about OBS, just ping me. But yeah, that's why you weren't seeing me now. Now you should be able to see me. Hello. Are you okay? Fantastic. So let's talk about React and TypeScript here. Let me move on this logo also up here, because I realized that we have been disconnected from that. So fantastic. So React was it's basically, yeah, I can see people. We see you. Hello. Nice, fantastic. So now look, when I was doing Angular JS back then, I was forcing teams to use TypeScript. And then when I jumped in React, I was like, hey, we gotta use TypeScript. So we had to do this Webpack configuration and stuff like that. And then a few years, I think a year ago, a bit or even earlier, Davy Inception, thank you. They introduced the TypeScript flag here, so you can just create a TypeScript project with the create React app CLI. So you can then use that with a React Native as well, right? React Native. Actually, that's gonna be the topic of next week. If you want, I'm gonna be working on using TypeScript in the React Native app. So we're gonna build a simple app in React Native and refactor that using TypeScript and see how our application becomes better as we do it, right? So then let me jump directly in the code, so because we have quite some code to see here. So I have a simple app here. Want to make sure that you all see this. Let me close that here, so we can focus on the app. So when you see this code, technically there is no TypeScript right there, right? So let me even make it easier for you. You see that yeah, I'm just checking on the right to make sure that you can see clearly what is happening right here. So there is no TypeScript involved here, right? So for example, if I say this app, we have this component here. It takes some props, and then I say, yeah, that props here is any. Doesn't really matter, because this code here doesn't really show you anything related to TypeScript. So I just add this prop. I put any here. By the way, don't put any anywhere. Anywhere. Don't do that, because any is €5 to pay Okay, you're going to pay for any, each any is €5, right? We good? So see that this component, for example, doesn't take any props, but let me clean that up for you and go from a blank slate so we can focus on explaining a little bit how you will go about this. So during this session, I'm gonna show you things about how you can type props, right? So that's the first thing. And then the second thing, we're going to talk about something really popular in React is hooks, right? And I will cover at the end of the session. I'm gonna show you a real app where we're using TypeScript, and I will quickly do a refactor. And in that app, I will be able to show you how I use Redux and type my application using Redux, and that's gonna just turn my application into something much easier to maintain. Yeah, I love TypeScript. So let's get started. Let's assume, for example, that in this app you want to have you want to basically say, okay, that's a TypeScript app. So what you do here, you say this is a function, right? App, and it doesn't take any argument. However, you can say, well, this thing you want to pass, let's say just h1 here, and we're going to say let me pass a props, let's say, for example, username here, right? So that we're going to get that from say username right here, right? Now you see, well, what is that? You can put any here, and technically, as I said, any is €5. So you don't want to put any right here. I'm looking on my right because I want to make sure that I see your questions, because I have a second screen over there where I can see your chat, so I can focus on this one, and sometime I look on the right to see. So you see here, I have that username here, but instead of having this as any right here, what you could do, you could just say, I'm going to create an interface here, and then say props. So that's usually the way people do it, right? They just say, well, those gonna be the props for this function right here. So, and then you just say, well, you're going to have a username here, and it's a string, right? So once you do so, now instead of putting any here, I can now say props, right? It gives me exactly the same, I get the same result. And let me remove any here, because now you understood that you're gonna owe me €5 the next time I see you if you write any right there. So right, so now let's say, for example, you decide that here you're going to add an image, and that image is a string, right? And here someone will say, well, okay, you're going to use app somewhere. Where do we use app? You know where we use app? So I have this index.ts here, and as you can see right away, let me put them side by side, so you should be able to see the main problem, what is happening there. Before we start doing all this transformation, so let me quickly remove that, and then comment out this line. You can see that nothing is happening here. If I say username and then say any here, just for the sake of doing it like this, you see on the right, I don't have any error. I had nothing, no complaints, nothing at all. But then when we turn back the clock and we go here, we can see now that we have this little issue on the right, where it's basically complaining like, hey, what are you trying to do? You're not passing any props here. So we're getting already some help, right, to do things right. So here you know that now you're gonna have to pass a props here, right? Say Davy here, right? And now we're still complaining, because look what we just did on the left. I'm gonna put them one after one. Here I said we're going to have an image and a username, right? But here you won't complain really, because you have already things here. But when you go inside the index here, what you see is going to complain, and which means you're gonna need to pass, for example, an image, right? And if I just do control space, I can see, so I type control space, I can see that it's suggesting me already the things that I need to make my code easier to write, because it suggests me all the properties that I might have there. But since it's TypeScript, right, what you will do here is say, okay, I don't have an image for you, right? Or you could say I have an image and I give you that image and problem solved. Everyone is happy. But in this case, you're like, yeah, I don't have an image, so let me go here. And sometime you don't need an image, so you will come here and then say, look, that image thing is not required, right? The question mark means optional, right? So now if I go back in my index, I can see that there is no complaint anymore, right? So you will, now I can hear you there saying, I can do that with prop type. I'm like, I don't even know what prop types are anymore. What are they? What do you use them for, right? So the idea there is, yes, you can do that with prop types, but you're gonna have to put much more code and elaborate on many things there. Here you're just leveraging a language. You're not leveraging an entire library to just do things. You're leveraging the TypeScript language, right? So that's basically the way you will do that here. And now you say, okay, in TypeScript, I can go inside my tsconfig and then say, well, let me do something that's gonna make your life really, really difficult. So I need something here. Yeah, I need to add implicit any to true. I believe that's the one I need here. Is it? No, yeah, I need it to be a true. Or was it there already? Question: did you install specific VS extension for TypeScript and React? No, Fabrice, I didn't really install any thing here. What I just did right there, I just run the CLI and it gave me that starting point. But there are many extensions. I didn't do that here on purpose because I'm showing you that how you will do that without putting too much information up front. But if you use Visual Studio, what I'm doing right now, you're just getting it out of the box. So yeah, there is no need for thing here. So what I was trying to do is just to show you that yeah, this looks pretty good, but it's not complete, because we're saying this function takes these properties, and inside I only need the username, so I'm taking the username, but it does return something, right? So in TypeScript, when you said return, you say it return a JSX, and you said, yeah, it's going to return a JSX element, right? So look, that it's the return value of it. It's basically the way you type what is happening here, right? So that's the way you do that. So if I remove this and then I go like, let me just return something else, it's just gonna blow away, like, no, it's gonna blow up. Like, no, you can't do that. You're gonna need to return a JSX element, right? So that is the way you will do that here. And for people that are really fancy out there, you can just say, well, yeah, function app. No, I'm not gonna do that because that's really not part of what I want to show you here, right? So some applications, you're gonna have to go and you're gonna have to push that a little bit further, right? So here I just say this app takes some props, and return a JSX element. There are many different ways you could have written this, but let me continue and I'll show you other example right now, right? So do you have any questions? Is that oh yeah, maybe you're right, Racelio, you're saying also enable strict mode, but strict mode was already enabled. I think strict is here, it's already here, but I can just say strict null check. Yeah, but that's not the same thing. That is not the strict mode that that's not what I was trying to achieve with this, right? Because you don't get that same thing right here, right? So very good. So far so good. We're just warming up, right? So if you take, for example, let me go and take the second example here. So I'm going to create, for example, a component. Let's say we're just going to create a component header, right? So what is a header? It's basically you know what a header is, and the only thing I need to do is just to return, let's say, a div that says this is my header, right? So you have that header here. So what I'm going to say here, this thing is what you call a React. So it's a React component. Let me just switch my charger here because my computer is complaining, right? So I just put this React FC. So what does FC stand for? It stands for functional component, right? Now, inside here, I'm going to need, for example, the username, right? When we were talking about username, this one's gonna need the username. So what is username really? Username is, we'll say, okay, let's say here username, right? So that's the thing you want to show here, and at the top of the page you put the username somewhere, and then once the user is logged in, right, for example. So what is username really? Username is a string. So the way you could do that, you could go here and then say this thing takes a username, right, and that's a string, right? That's basically one way of doing it. So you're basically saying, okay, that takes a username, and then you pass that username there, which means that part here is the props part, right? So I'm kind of refactoring the code below, but I'm doing it on this component, so you see how we clean that up. So now I can say this one here, instead of saying, let me move that up there, so you should be able to better see this. So I have this right here. So what I'm saying there is this one takes some props, right? And those props here, inside props, you're going to have username. So as we can see now below, this is what we have. This is the component we have. But what we did here, we say, well, on the left here are the props. So I'm using what the generics here. I say on the left, you pass. I say on the left because it's not really on the left. The first thing are the props. And then here you can also pass the state of your application. So you're gonna just have to create an interface like state like this, and then here you can pass the state of your application on as a second argument here. But that we're going to see that in a few minutes. So let me quickly show you the difference between those two. Here is just the fact that I'm using a function notation, but here it's exactly the same thing. So I can go back here and now say, let me use header, but well, just close that. But you can see now header is complaining, so I just need to do command control space, and then I see, well, okay, I can pass the username. So let me pass the username right here, right? So that's it. So you just do that this way. So I have my component, and this is a functional component. But I had this state. I was trying to use that state here, and that was not really correct, right? You understand? Oh yeah, someone asked, John asked, will it be the same for HOC? Will it inherit the inner props interface? Maybe I'm taking it too fast. Yeah, John, it's coming. It's kind of the idea. Here, I can, for example, create a component, let's say class. Oh yeah, let's do a footer that contains, you use class somehow because you're going to manage some state in your application. That's why you're using class. I'm always looking like there, but I should be looking at you right here. So I'm using class here, and I can just say this thing extend React component, right? And then here on the right, on the first argument here will be the props, and the second will be the state. That's the way you will do that. And then here you will say, well, that thing renders. So it renders, and what you render here, you're also rendering a JSX element, right? So that's the okay. I shouldn't put it like that. But technically, what renders here, you need to return something that is like this, for example, right? So you're returning that thing here. But now you can define the props. So we have the props up here, and we have the state right here. So you can start defining those things directly in interfaces, right? So that's basically the way you will go about this, right? John, I get back to you with AOC, but you see that you kind of get the main idea there is the fact that now when you start writing your code, you leverage these things to make your code safer and easier to maintain, even after you left that project or you pass that project on to another team to keep on working with it. Okay. So that's the props part, right? I'm not gonna spend so much time on the state because somehow I moved the state onto something else. Well, mostly using hooks for that, right? So for that, the way I think we could do it is basically, yeah, let's build a simple component here. So we still have a bit of time, so I'm gonna quickly go on the hooks part, and then we can take it from there. So let me remove that footer. We don't need it. If you have any questions, please do ask them, because I'm about to speed up a bit things here, right? Okay. So so how are we going to go about this? Now we're going to talk about the hooks part, right? So the idea is really simple. Once you have hooks, what you could do is you just, let's say we're going to use useState, for example. So here on top, I'm going to take useState, right? So what do you do with that? Let's say the famous counter. I'm just going to have a counter here and then say useState, right? So because I say here counter, so I'm gonna say count and then set count, right? So what is happening here is the fact that if you go on count, let me go here, you see, okay, it's declared but never used. But what is the type of count? You see it up here. It says undefined. That's the type. It says, oh well, that's undefined. And what you could do here is, let's say count start at 0. Yeah, you see what I just did there? I say count start at 0. So I can go here, and now I see that, oh, actually count is a number. So somehow it was able to infer the fact that you get it's like it's a number, right? It was able to infer that. And then, for example, if you say, well, I want to say set count to Hackages Hackages learning, you see that right away. This going to complain, be like, well, what are you trying to do there? That thing doesn't work. You're passing a string to a number. That's TypeScript. You're leveraging TypeScript for that. So, well, what you could do here, you say, well, that thing could be 0, but sorry, you won't be able to say, or it could be this, or now I'm just passing default possible value. But as we know, this is falsy, and then it will just keep on going. No, don't do that this way. What you will do, you say, here, it's going to be a number. You can see already, like, that's the way I'm typing what goes inside here. I say, this is a number. But if I don't have anything inside here, it will still complain saying, well, argument of value was not provided, because it expects something in there. Wow, you can go here and say, sometime it's undefined. For example, let me just roll that back quickly, because I just want to show you this thing quickly here. So Hackages learning. So, and then now I can say it could sometime be a string, for example. So I can start creating the list of arguments that thing could use in a way. Or if you say, for example, here you want it to be sometime null, say like, well, it doesn't know about null. Do you know that null is a type? You know that? I'm just looking at the chat to if you have any questions right there. Yeah, here what I'm saying there is like null is a type, so you can go here and then say it could be null. So you're basically typing your state right here, and now you can for example say let's say we pass a div here, since that's the only element that we know in HTML, and I can just pass my count here, right? So now let me quickly go here and say, let me add a quick button, right? And we just say increment, right? So when I say increment here, what I'm trying to do is like, okay, on change, what is happening on change? On change, you want to pass a function, right? So you want to make sure that when someone click there, you will be able to pass a function and yeah, do some things right there. So, well, that function there, you can type it. You can basically add a typing there. I just want to make sure that in terms of timing we're still good. Yeah. Okay. You know what? Let me quickly go on. Show you more stuff about the way you use hooks, because the last one here I will be able to show that on another example right after, right? So stay with me, bear with me for a few more minutes. So as you can see, we were able to type our state by providing this, but you could have said this one could be, for example, username. You say, okay, username here, right? That's what you want to say. And remember where we had username? It was part of the props thing, right? And now we know that we can't pass these. Well, we're gonna have to pass something with username, for example, equal Davy, right? So I'm able to use that this way, right? It basically gives me the same idea of like I'm passing the things here. I call that props here, but it's not really props. That's just the name of the interface. You could call it state or your state or whatever name you feel like giving, right? That's just the way it goes, right? So up until now, I think it's all good. Any questions? Is that clear? Yeah, just a thumbs up if everything is still okay. You're getting the feel of what is happening. Yeah. That's basically the way you leverage that. So the one more thing that I'm going to show you, for example, hooks that I'm going to show you there is like it's the useref, right? So let me take an input here. Yeah, I like to use it like this, so I can remove that. And what you want to do here, you want to have a ref, right? So the way you do that, you say, well, let me get use ref. Let me just get a use ref up here, right? So one of the interesting thing to do here is like, okay, now that you have a ref, what you're going to say is you're going to create the name. You're going to create the name of that ref. So you just say, let's say input ref, and then you say input ref is equal use ref. Use ref is here, right? So now I can now pass that here and say input ref, right? So now I got a reference to the thing, but then it's saying like, what is that thing? It doesn't. It's complaining like, I don't get the type of the thing you're passing right there. So I'm gonna show you a little trick, something that you could use to, if you're starting with TypeScript and you're like, oh, Davy, those are too many angle bracket, the typing stuff is really cumbersome. I don't feel like doing it. Let me just stay to the JavaScript world. Don't do that. Don't do that. Look what you could do. I used to do that as well. So I'm going to show you a trick. See, I didn't type my input ref. I just say use ref. And then here I was like, okay, it's complaining, but it's also giving me a message like, good. Your thing is, you're saying mutable ref object of undefined. Undefined? No, I've never put undefined. I never put undefined, but you know in JavaScript, if you don't put anything, it is undefined. And it said it's not assignable to type string or something of instance of HTML input element or null. And this, you see, you have these garbage like thing right there. So what you will say here, what I used to do, and now I know better, but I would just say, okay, this thing is telling me something. It says that React class attribute, it's a HTML input element like a reference. So it could be a string, right? We're just giving a string name, or it could be something of this type. Well, so what I could do here, I could just go, instead of typing it even, I'm just gonna copy this one and then say, I know that this is the thing that should be in there, right? So let me make sure that get it right, and then I will just say like, it's gonna ask me like, okay, what is the default value you want to put in there? So I will say I don't have any. When I start, I just say null, and then I just pass it here, right? And there you go. But the way I was able to infer this was just by looking at this, and then realize that, okay, that thing could be, it says here, it could be HTML input element, and if it doesn't find any, technically it's null. And then here I'm just saying start with null, and but the type should be this. And then by doing so, now I can just say input ref and then current, and I have access to all of these things right here, right? No, that you're not gonna get that with prop type, right? So please don't go that route, right? So that's it for the hooks, but believe me, you have more. There's more to see for the hooks, and they all use the same idea. Like the typing happens right here. You just pass the typing, the type of the thing at that level, right? Now I'm gonna share with you something, a little secret project. Yeah, we do that. So we have these, we're working on this project at Hackages. Yeah, I'm looking at my team like, should I tell them about Hackgem platform? Because we're using React and TypeScript on it. But let me do that for you right now. So let me show you something. So we have these platform we're working on, where we I'm not gonna give away anything right now, but we have this platform that we're building right now, and and that platform is a place for you to learn differently, right? So, but no spoiler alert. I'm just gonna show you something, and what I'm going to do now is to show you how we build this platform using React and TypeScript, but apparently it doesn't work. So let me quickly switch to that. So I have this. So we're just going to refactor the header, the header component right here, but we have a simple error. So let me make sure that that error is fixed. So let me open this. So it's complaining about that, but technically I don't need this at this stage, and I don't need this at this stage either, right? So then we should be able to arrive here and say, yeah. So we're building this platform where you will be able to learn like in a different way, different approach, following TDD's approach and stuff like that. So yeah, it's still in beta, like, you know, the thing before beta, that thing, that's still where it is right now. So don't mind the design and whatever, it's still work in progress. However, it's gonna be there really soon. So subscribe to the channel, subscribe to our newsletter, you see that coming. So yeah, that was a shame plug, but now let's talk about code. I'm going to refactor that header component there before your eyes, and the idea there is to show you that this app use Redux behind the scene, and the header component on top here has you see that the image and all this stuff we use a store for that. Okay, let me now go back inside the code, and we're going to do some refactoring right there. So we have the header component, right? It's right here. So and then we have a few things happening in the code. So and here below you can see that we're using the map state to props and compose and connect and all these magical stuff that, no, you don't need that, people, but for the sake of the presentation I needed to show you that, so I can show you a different way of doing it. So let's do this. First thing here, we see it's a React component, right? It's a class, and then we have these props here. So first thing, let me just create an interface and call it props, or even do that, add a props, right? And then you know that you're going to need a user, but at this stage you don't know what user is, so you still own €5. You still own €5 to, I own €5 to myself. It's not you, it's me, it's on me, all right? So now I can just replace that part here by props, header props, right? So that's basically already cleaning up the thing. I don't technically need this, right? I don't need these props right here. I don't need that. So let me make sure that the app is still running. Very good. So we're going to clean up this app as we go. So what I'm trying to do here is first, because I don't need all these ceremonial, I can just turn this thing into a component, right? Yeah, I'm sorry, John, like that's already €10, but I kind of paid back the €10 as I go. So stay with me. I'm doing my best for not owning anyone any penny right here. So look, we have it's not really a complicated component. The only thing that I'm going to make sure is like we make it even slimmer, right? So let's do this. Our goal here is to understand better what user is, right? So without showing you too much, user is not any, right? It's a thing that has two properties right there, and I'm gonna just make it. I'm gonna make it super easy here for you to understand that. So a user has, or let me just add an interface. And that interface, okay, I can look that up because I know the kind of the kind of things we have right there. Yeah, payroll, and then we have user. Yeah, so a name and an avatar, right? So that's basically it. So let me close that. A name and an avatar right here. So let's go back here. So user has a name, which is a string, and has an avatar URL, and which is also a string, right? So that's what we have, and that shouldn't be like this anymore because that's user. See, there we go. €5 gone. Fantastic. Sorry, John. I had to make sure that you're not asking me for money at this stage, right? So that's one thing. So my job here is to say, okay, we don't need that class. So let me just create a header. We don't need a header component. It's just a header component, right? No extend. Let's do this, and then we say here it's you can say React dot functional component. Not really, it's actually a component like this that's going to have props and stuff like that. So as you can see, I can just move that thing here to here, right? And now I have this. I can now say like I can put it this way. However, we can see already it's complaining down below. So I need to clean up a little bit my code to make sure that this thing is still working. So instead of having that const header right here that I use the compose part, I'm just gonna comment out that, yeah, I know I won't work anymore, but we're gonna fix it in a few seconds, and that's gonna blow away your mind. I'm sure of it. So stay with me a few more minutes, and then we will be done with this. So as I did this, I have header here is missing the following properties: header props, any context and stuff like that. Well, I don't need any of that. So I know that this thing here is, well, yeah, that's correct. What is it saying? It's saying that element. Yeah, okay, here I know that it's, oh yeah, I know why, but technically I don't need to do this, because what it's complaining about is this. It's complaining about the fact that we're not returning anything really down below. I can even remove that. So what do I have here? Yeah, okay, I need to add one more thing here. So as we can see, it's already much better. So we're returning that thing. And now you see here we have those this, but technically these here are all about the user, right? So you can already say like in here you're going to receive user that comes from header props, right? That's what you're gonna receive here, which means that you don't need this part, right? That's it, because it's coming from here. And it means that you don't need this part either, and this part either. So right, so that's basically it. We're cleaning up the mess in a way, right? So and now we're like, well, this thing isn't working really, because we don't need that. We don't need either of this, right? So but if we go inside our app, damn, it's not working. Well, it's basically saying it doesn't find the header component. So what did we do wrong? We exported that const, and then we have this equal. We're passing the thing. So I need to go inside app, and then app is here, and then app says, yeah, I need to have, does not have any construct or call signature. What are we talking about there? So let me quickly fix that for you. So we have this thing here that takes argument here. Like what I do in my code, I usually don't do this anymore because it's kind of a repetition, because I'm already having this thing right here as a way to say those are the props and here are the typing for the props, right? So that's basically one thing. And then the other thing here is basically saying property user is missing an empty okay, that's very good, John. It's indeed John was mentioning this. Let me show you that to all, because it's actually a very good it's a very good thing you can do when you're typing your code. So we were refactoring, saying this is header. Let me clean that up here. Let's say we don't need this, and then this one is header props. Right now we have user here, and then I need to replace a bunch of things. So instead of going one after the other, I can just highlight this, Control D, and then do this, right? So it just takes it all, and then so yeah. Thanks for pointing that out. It's a good tip to know. And as I mentioned, that we don't need, and I will show you how we fix that problem as we go. Now we have this header that takes user, so we have that user that come in here, and now this one is complaining, and then it's saying that it's missing the thing. Yeah, it does. It's missing that because it thinks it's going to receive user as props. Actually, user doesn't come as props, right? As you saw, it was coming from the state. So we need to fix the state issue, right? So because we're not passing user here, so that in a way isn't correct. That's not correct, really, because it comes as a state. So let me remove that, and let's fix the state thing. So the way you will do that, you go inside that React Redux, and then you take the use selector. Use means hooks. That's what it means. All right. So we don't need a compose there anymore, right? That's gonna blow away your mind. So stay with me. Look at this. Now I can say I want user, and then user comes from use selector. And the only thing I need to tell the selector is when you receive the state, right? When you receive the state, return state dot reducer. You see, I have to type it entirely. I have to type every single thing right there. But since I know what I need here, I'm just gonna do this, and then going to say, I know that my state here has a reducer, and the reducer itself as a user, which is of type user. So you see what I just did? We're going to refactor that in a second. I just said, instead of using all this compose, redux stuff, mapping, I'm just using that hook. You see that? And then now I receive my user, and I can now pass the user here. I don't need this at all. So what I did right here, it's exactly what we were doing here at this level. So I can get rid of this entirely. And as you can see here, I had like compose, connect, no, like maps to props. No, you don't need either of this. So I just removed that, and this is my component right here. And this part that I just manually typed right here, here you don't need those props anymore. You need user, move that onto another file. And then here, I have this thing that's not really beautiful to see here, but that is the shape of your store. So you can just type it and then pass the type value right here. But as you can see, we went from having these class-based component to a function-based component where we just said, okay, you're going to return this, and then if you need state, that state comes from an external thing. So let me go and fetch that state, and then by using a selector, and then there we go. My code becomes a little bit simpler. Yeah. Okay. questions, people? No problem, Bruno. We're going to put back this webinar online, yeah, you should be able to play around with that. And as you can see, the app is still working. Yeah, be able to do some amazing trainings on this platform, and yeah, we just refactor basically the header part, right, by using our TypeScript. And so what I use right here is I can show you quickly Redux and use selector. So in the React and in React Redux, there is this they updated that especially version 7.1.0. They added all these things, so you can get rid of this connect in the ceremonial of creating a component and stuff like that. You can just use selector, use dispatch, this kind of stuff to make your code much better. But don't forget that whenever you use it, you can go ahead and say user that will come here, it's going to be of type user. For example, wait a second, I'm gonna make sure that I don't, no, I use the interface, yeah. No, wait a second. Yeah, actually you could do that. Because I know that that's going to return something of type user, and user is right here. Yeah, actually it's correct, but now it's going to say this thing isn't returning something of type user, and that will be correct because it also has a token, I believe. So let me go back inside my store, and then I will find that this is correct. Here you're saying I'm going to receive a user. The thing that is not correct is the way it's implemented behind the scene there. So let me get the store. Let me search for yeah, it's inside reducer. I have a file called reducer, import reducer, and it's here. So at the end here, I'm just saying, okay, a user is this. Yeah, but it returns more than that. So in that state, I just want that user. So you have a token, URL, and a name. And that's basically what we have right there. Not sure why I got this. Okay, let's say it says, I can just read that. Type parameter and state are incompatible. Property says missing in the type user. Yeah, okay, that is correct. Yeah, yeah, what I'm the thing I'm missing right here is, yeah, I just need to refine the way I'm typing my reducer here. But the way you will do that indeed is to type here, but there are a little bit more to do right here. So it's 1 p.m. and I did my homework. Now, how about you? What are you up to? Any questions? Yeah. So Rogelio is saying that instead of calling user selector from Redux library, it will be nicer to import it in another file first, define all the possible types, and call it from this place. Yeah, that is correct. That is completely correct. You can have an entire file with all your selector in there, and then just import them where you need them, and that is completely valid. Here, for the sake of the demo, I'm just making sure that yeah, I just want to make sure that you have that whole picture in one place. But yeah, in our code base, we're trying to clean that up a bit better indeed. More questions, maybe? So I have a question for you. How many of you do test-driven development? How many of you are actually writing tests in their application every day? Just a thumbs up or a thumbs down. So thumbs up or thumbs down will be great here. Yeah, John, nice meeting you as well, and happy that you enjoyed the stream. Yeah, do we have a little bit of delay? So I yeah, can just wait a little bit. Yeah, so my question was basically who's using test-driven development? Thumbs up, Daniel, thumbs down, and yeah, testing is doubting. Yeah, yeah. Is there a way we can make testing? But okay, let me ask you, writing tests for the backend, but with a QA team writing Cucumber tests for the front end. Okay, that's good, Fabrice. It's really nice. How about like, is there a way we can? Okay, do you want to learn how to write more like better tests for your application? Is it something you aspire to, or is it like, no, I don't want that. I mean, it's okay if I write 5%. It's okay on services. Yeah, I do end-to-end test. Yeah, testing. Yeah, Manjit. Yeah, nice. That's already good. Unit testing coverage with public method and business logic. That's good. So, for example, if a colleague of yours give you an application and then say, oh, we have this list of requirements that are already written as a set of tests, will you be something? Will you be something you like? Look, giving you a scenario. You receive an application and that application has already a set of tests, and not all these tests are already implemented. Would you enjoy going and writing the code to make those tests to work? Yeah, TDD, Bruno said less and less. I must admit, yeah. So yeah, my question, my last question, and then yeah, indeed, I'm happy to stay a few more minutes if you have questions about the webinar, or and if you want to chat about this test-driven development aspect. So I just want to get, my last question is basically, do you enjoy? Will you enjoy this process? Like, okay, I have a bunch of tests and I need to write the codes that work, that makes this code pass, like a process of red, green, refactor, and then you see your application coming to life. Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, Ken Dot's course is really good. Yeah, indeed, that's a good one. Yeah. Is there a difference in using TypeScript with FC or versus CC? FC functional component and CC stand for stateful component. I didn't get it, Daniel. Could you explain a bit? Uh, uh, yeah. So is there a difference between a class component versus no? The thing is, like, one of them is functional, which means that you don't really expect a state in there, right? You don't expect that. The other one is, the class. The class doesn't mean that you expect state nor props in there, but I can actually show you here. It's pretty simple to see in terms of class versus function. I understood that. For example, this one that we have here is React FC per se, right? That's what it is, right? It's technically you can think of it like that, but look at the way it's defined right here. The way it's defined here, you say it's like it's a functional component, and when you go to functional component, you see the way they are basically designed right here. So it just takes the props. It doesn't expect anything else but the props right here. However, if you go on the component class, see, component class are right here, and they take way more things. They take on the first argument are props, and the second argument are component state, right? And then if you go in there, you realize that this could be literally anything. Yeah, even them, they have to pay €5, but sometimes you need any. So yeah. Okay. So I was asking you, I was asking you this question regarding the TDD approach because I shown you this platform right here. So we're building this platform, and this platform, what we mean by learn differently is basically test-driven learning. So each applications here is basically a set of tests, and you're gonna go ahead and build those apps just by following a testing-driven learning approach. And as you fix the test, you will be able to improve your knowledge in React, Angular, JavaScript, TypeScript, even Java, .NET. So that's what we're building right here. So if you feel like this is something you would like to try, go ahead on the Hackages website, subscribe there, and we're gonna make sure that we put you as the first tester for this platform. It's just a different way of learning, people. So yeah, that's it on my side for today. Any other questions, maybe? Okay, people. Thank you, everyone, and I'm gonna see you next week. And next week we're going to talk about the same idea, but in React Native. So at Hackages, we have quite some people doing React Native, and it's like we're growing our knowledge around that. So if you're for example based in Amsterdam or in Amsterdam, in the Netherlands or in Belgium, and you will want to work with technology like TypeScript, React Native, even Angular, this React, Hackages is a good place to go for that. There are many others company out there, but we're building a huge expertise around those technology. We build a huge expertise around this technology over time. So feel free to reach out to me or engineer at the company, and stay safe out there. And I'm going to see you next week. Thanks again for coming. Much love, and stay safe, right? Bye, people. Bye.